Welcome back to Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet. I'm Kristie.
And I'm Josh. We've got some more great Reddit stories for you today, so let's jump into the first one.
Am I the asshole? I bought some very expensive chocolates for myself, but I'm being forced to share them with my family.
Leave it to you to pick the story about sharing chocolate.
It's not happening for me. Nope, I am not sharing.
I mean, I guess you're probably not the asshole. You did buy them, presumably with your own money, so I guess you can hoard them. Chocolate is a special treat.
I, 16 male, bought a small box of chocolates this morning with my own money. To clarify, there are 6 chocolates in the box, and the box cost 15 euros. And I was, and still am, intending to eat them all, because I paid for them with my own money. However, my mother specifically is trying to force me to share them with the rest of the family, and says that me eating them by myself is selfish.
Sounds like Mom just wants some of this premium chocolate.
But knowing my family, I might only get to eat 1 or 2 out of the 6 chocolates. I tried to explain that I bought them with my own money, and I wanted to try all the flavors that I chose. Anyways, we got into a fight, and I decided to hide my chocolates for now, out of fear of my family eating them. Am I being selfish?
Well, this just sounds like it was written by a young Kristie.
Except my family would never expect me to share chocolate that I had paid for myself and got for myself.
I guess OP's not the asshole here. They spent 15 euros on 6 chocolates. They're not gonna be big chocolates, right? They're like little bonbon things, right?
Yeah, I assume they're like the fancy little bonbons, but like this big, probably the size of a quarter.
And they're all different flavors. So sharing them would be really disappointing.
I don't know if it's just because everybody in my family is food aggressive, but there were strict rules about candy, and if it belonged to you, you did not have to share it. Like, my parents thought that it was a good thing for us to know that there were some things that were ours and we did not have to share.
Especially when you bought it with your own money, right? Only getting to eat 1 or 2 before your family steals the other 4 to 5 chocolates. The majority of your chocolates. OP is 16. OP does not have a lot of money, I assume.
Top comment, yes, it's selfish. That's why you bought them for yourself. NTA, and next time, don't tell.
Top comment had me going there for a second.
But I do feel like, yeah, all he's learning from this situation is that he needs to be sneaky and hide his chocolates.
People do say that strict parents raise sneaky kids. And I can fully see why. I wouldn't want to share my 6 chocolates with my whole family.
Like, maybe if I got a giant bag of cheap chocolates, yeah, I'll give everybody a little taste. Maybe, if they're really nice to me.
Yeah, if I got like one of those big Valentine hearts that has like 40 pieces of chocolate in there, sure, take a few. There's others of every single flavor for me to try.
Also, with those big chocolate hearts, I feel like there's some flavors that are popular, but that I don't like. So I'm like, yes, eat this disgusting hazelnut one.
I don't think I've ever met a person who likes every single flavor of chocolate inside of the big heart.
Another comment, NTA. He should say, if you want one, they are 3 euros each. Service charge. You bought them for you, and I loathe forced sharing. I'd be like, yeah, these are special chocolates. If you want one, pay for it.
Yeah, each one of these bite-sized chocolates cost more than a normal candy bar.
You can contribute towards the candy fund if you want some of the candy. Another comment, NTA, but you need to eat them quickly because your mom likely won't back down. In the future, when you buy treats for yourself, don't tell your family and hide them from the start. Someone replied, don't eat them quickly and waste them, savor them. But maybe make your family think you ate all of them by making a show of getting rid of the empty box, while your chocolates are safe elsewhere.
Sounds like that last commenter and OP have that same kind of squirrel mentality that you do, where, no, I must hoard the special chocolate, possibly until it goes stale and bad.
Yeah, okay. But I do eat it. I just eat it slowly because it's special and I need to save it for a special occasion, okay? And sometimes a special occasion doesn't come before it starts getting a little stale.
So I'm just saying, don't hoard them for too long, OP. I also agree. You shouldn't just shovel them into your mouth and be like, now no one gets the chocolate. But maybe don't waste them.
NTA, your mom is selfish. You are having boundaries. Which is why she's calling you selfish. She's doing the, do you have enough for the entire class thing? We teach to share when appropriate. I don't share my car, I don't share my house, I don't share my personal things, neither does your mom. And if she purchased herself a box of chocolates and you told her to share, she would also call you selfish. Now, if I get chocolates and I know my partner will also want some, I will get some for them. Then I don't have to share, they have their own. But I got them intending to share. I don't mind doing so with food, my time, etc., within reason and with boundaries. And I kind of agree with that. Like when I go and buy myself a special treat, I'm like, ooh, Josh is going to want some too. So I buy extra for you. And I go into the situation with the expectation that I'm going to share this. And then I'm not upset that I have to share because I bought extra for you.
Yeah, but we're also married, so that is expected behavior, whereas OP is just a member of this family and one of the younger members of this family.
Yeah, I guess when I was 16 years old, I would not have thought, hey, my mom would really like some of these chocolates. I'll spend my money to buy my mom chocolates too. I don't think that would have,
It's not Mother's Day.
No, it's not.
I'm 16. I do not have the money to get people just because presents.
But anyways, Reddit is very firmly NTA. They think the mom is selfish for wanting some of these chocolates that he bought with his own money.
They must be really good chocolates, right? Like mom saw those. It's like, I want one of those chocolates.
And I don't blame her, but you're an adult. Go buy your own chocolates. Don't try and mooch off your kid.
That's not how girl math works. Do I have to explain girl math to you, Kristie?
I guess that's true. And if she just eats some of her son's, the calories don't count either.
No,
they're not her chocolates.
Right. She didn't buy the chocolates. They were just a little treat that her son gave her one of, so there's no calories at all. Am I the asshole for not getting my daughter-in-law coffee because she hates tea?
I'm very confused by that. Like, if she hates tea, I get not getting her tea, but why not get her coffee?
This feels really stupid, and I need to know if I am the problem here or not. My son seems to think I am the problem. My daughter-in-law loves coffee. She is the type of person that will go get coffee every morning. It is not uncommon that if she goes out to get coffee, she will pick up coffee for other people as well.
Man, that's got to get expensive. Every morning and for multiple people?
The issue is she will never get me a tea or any tea lattes. As she puts it, it is leaf water, and she doesn't want to waste her money on it. I am asking her to get a $5 thing of tea if she is already picking up everyone $8 fancy coffees. I am asking for a tea latte or an iced tea that I literally can't make at the time.
What is wrong with daughter-in-law? If it's like a tea latte or an iced tea, it's not just leaf water. It's fancier, and that's why you go to the special coffee place to get it, because it's fancy.
But it's made with leaves and not beans.
What makes beans so superior to leaves?
So, she comes back with everyone's drink but mine. It is really frustrating on a trip because I will be driving most of the time. She takes everyone's orders and goes in while I am either getting gas or snacks for the trip, and comes back without any caffeine. Then I have to go into the shop to get my drink.
That is so rude. Like, you are the driver. Everyone should be pampering you and handing you snacks and making sure you have everything you need, including caffeine, because you're the driver. Nobody wants to be the driver. And this daughter-in-law is like, what's everyone want? And then ignores only you every single time. That is so rude. Have you talked to her about this and been like, hey, I get that it's only leaf water, but I would really appreciate it if you still got me my stupid leaf water? Because I really enjoy it and I want it. Have you offered, like, hey, I know you don't want to waste your money on my stupid leaf water. I will pay you to pick me up the leaf water. Since you're already at the coffee place and getting everyone their coffees, I will give you $5 to bring me my leaf water.
No, but bean juice is far superior.
And I feel like she shouldn't have to offer to pay for it when everybody else is getting theirs paid for. Like, that doesn't seem fair. But at the same time, I want my tea. Bring it to me. You offered. Bring it.
There have been so many times she asked in the chat if anyone wants something at Starbucks. I tell her what I want, and then she comes back with everyone's drink but mine.
I would be furious.
Talking to her doesn't help. She just claims I can make it at home. Now to the issue. I was going over to babysit the grandkids for my son and daughter, so 4 adults. I sent a text saying I was stopping at Starbucks and asked if they wanted anything. This is the exact same thing she does. They gave me their orders, and I decided I wouldn't get my daughter-in-law her drink to make a point, basically.
It's petty and I love it.
I got to where everyone was and gave everyone their drink besides my daughter-in-law. She was pissed, and I pointed out that this is the same thing she does to me all the time. She told me it wasn't the same, and I can make tea at home. I told her to make coffee at home.
That's what I was like, you can make coffee at home, too!
And the pot was right there.
Make your stupid bean juice at home.
We got into a fight. My son told me to apologize and get her drink. I told him no, and I am tired of this. I've spoken to them multiple times, and if she doesn't change what she does, I will never get her drink when I get drinks for others. They left after babysitting. I am still hearing about it. I need your opinion.
Not the asshole. This is just so, like, I don't know, antagonistic of the daughter-in-law. Like, she's doing this on purpose. She's been told many times that it bothers mother-in-law and, like, please pick up my leaf tea. My leaf tea.
Yeah, your leaf tea.
My leaf tea, my leaf water. Please bring me my tea, okay? This has been talked about many, many times, and daughter-in-law's still like, no, I'm not doing it. Like, I can't imagine doing that to someone that I'm supposed to like and like want to stay on good terms. You want to stay on good terms with your in-laws, right? I can't imagine doing this to someone unless I really, really, really hated them. And even then, I don't know if I could do it because it's just so rude. Like, yes, I don't like you, but I've offered to bring everybody coffee and stuff, so I will bring you your stupid tea, even though I don't like you. I cannot imagine a scenario where I would regularly, like all the time, leave someone's order out.
Especially because it sounds like grandma does some babysitting for them. Right?
Like, you should be like, what can I bring you to thank you for this babysitting?
To thank you for driving.
Yeah, it sounds like OP does a lot for her son and daughter-in-law. Like, they should be more grateful and thankful and, like, trying to reciprocate a little bit and bring her tea.
Also, I've never called it leaf water and, like, bean juice. Seriously? It sounds like daughter-in-law calls it leaf juice seriously. When I used to run advertising for an energy drink company, we'd be like, oh, we don't drink that bean juice around here. Oh, leaf water, gross. We only drink our caffeine from a can.
Yeah, it does seem like a kind of insulting way to talk about someone's drink, which I think is daughter's point. Your drink is stupid. It's leaf water.
Top comment. Not the asshole. If she's asking for orders and getting everyone but yours, that's incredibly rude. You simply matched her actions. I'm guessing there's other issues at play too, but solely for this, NTA.
Okay, yeah, I feel in my rant, I was just basically ranting that daughter-in-law is an asshole. I never got around to the point, is OP an asshole? No, I don't think they are. They're just returning the same energy. It's just being an agent of karma. What goes around comes around.
Somebody replied to top comment, OP, next time order a coffee and see what happens.
Ooh, yeah. Will she get it for you if you order something she respects?
It does feel like this isn't about the coffee, though.
It does. So I'm wondering if she would still come up with an excuse to not bring you your drink.
Somebody else asked for a bit more information. NTA, how old is your daughter-in-law? It sounds like she's just outright disrespecting you for no apparent reason from what is available in the post. I'm surprised your child hasn't said something to their spouse about how weird this is.
That's the other thing I wanted to say. I'm upset that nobody else in the family has been like, hey, this isn't cool. Bring mom her drink.
OP replied she's 28. She can be a food and drink snob, so that's where I think this is coming from. Like, she will judge you if you get McDonald's, for example, or order something at a restaurant she finds gross.
I don't think it's about the tea. I think that daughter-in-law genuinely does not like you.
Somebody else commented, NTA, I would be so embarrassed if she got me a coffee and everyone else, and not one for everyone. I wouldn't be able to enjoy mine. Where is everyone else's voice? OP replied, they have opinions. I just asked them to stay out of it. They are mostly on my side. I
feel like I would feel so bad if my sister-in-law or whatever didn't bring mom a drink when mom had requested one and brought everyone else one. I would run out and get mom a drink because I don't want my mom to feel left out.
These are adult children. You can overrule mom telling you to stay out of it and be like, no, mom, I'm in this.
And I get that son wants to like support his wife and like be on his wife's side, but your wife is so in the wrong here. Like, I don't know how he can't see that and isn't supporting his mom and being like, hey, wife, if you're offering to pick up drinks for everyone, you need to get my mom one too.
And you don't have to take a sip of mom's drink or anything when you pick it up.
Yeah, it's like, tea is gross. That's fine. You're not drinking it.
Somebody else comments, you are right. but we'll never ever win this right, so don't do it. OP replied, to be honest, this is more going into a respect thing, so I have to fight it or walk away. Walking away would mean less time with the grandkids, so I'm going to fight back on it.
I mean, fighting back on it might also result in less time with the grandkids if daughter-in-law takes extreme offense and no longer allows you access to them.
Somebody else replied pretty much the same thing. Fighting back is pretty likely to mean less time with the grandkids, too. OP replied, sure, but at least I still have my self-respect. I am not going to be actively disrespected. Actually, I can't have a relationship with daughter-in-law if she is going to be disrespectful. No one should put up with that type of stuff. So it does sound like OP has at least some self-worth, which is good.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with OP. Like, I don't know if I could be friendly with someone who was so blatantly disrespectful all the time.
All right, and then there is a quick update. Okay, well, I got my answer. I am going to send this to my son and tell him we need to talk ASAP. Then she continues, my son got back to me and told me we will talk in a bit. Well, just got off the phone with my daughter-in-law and son. Yes, they have seen this post. I sent it to them. My daughter-in-law apologized, and this issue has nothing to do with me. I thought she just hated me, but this has to deal with her own mother.
What?
They have a bad relationship, and when they married, didn't wish for that type of relationship to happen again with me. It also didn't help that her sister has a horrible mother-in-law, so she thought she needed to be distant and cold off the start.
That doesn't even make sense. I don't want a bad relationship with you because I have a bad relationship with my own mother. I don't want a bad relationship with my mother-in-law, so I'm going to treat you horribly, and that'll fix the problem. That makes no sense.
Well, this way she gets to be the bully instead of the bullied.
I guess that's true, but not cool.
So yes, she was being rude on purpose. This post kind of opened her eyes that she was acting like her mother acts. My son also apologized and realized he went too far in the direction of support your spouse. He admits he did the easy thing because we don't live together. I informed them I won't put up with being disrespected anymore, and hopefully nothing backtracks. We seem good now, but I have a feeling more talks will happen. Anyway, thank you, Reddit. This was helpful.
Okay, well, that was a kind of weird update. I still don't fully believe that daughter-in-law doesn't hate you.
That is the type of behavior that is difficult to change, isn't it? But then again, maybe not. Just get one extra drink. That feels like that's the main problem, is that you just weren't getting one more drink at Starbucks.
So, like, action-wise, easy to fix, but maybe mindset-wise, a little harder to fix.
Yeah, but fingers crossed that their relationship improves moving forward.
Hey, if you're enjoying this episode so far, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, it really helps us out, and it lets us know to keep making fun content like this for you.
Am I the asshole for threatening to quit my best friend's bridal party if I'm not made the maid of honor?
I don't think that's something you're allowed to demand, but I like your ambition, OP.
My female 27 best friend, female 28, is getting married. Yay! We've been best friends since 7th grade, and she was the maid of honor in my wedding a few years back. When she got engaged, I assumed I was going to be her maid of honor, but she told me that instead she wants her brother, male 26, to be man of honor.
OP, I don't think you're allowed to try to compete with a sibling for the title.
I was a tiny bit offended, but okay. I figured I'd get to spend less money and effort. No arguments there. Then I found out that she still expects me to do all the maid of honor duties. I'm throwing the bachelorette party. I'm helping buy or DIY decor. I'm the point person for questions and problems on the wedding day.
Of course you are. Brother just gets a title and no responsibilities.
Her excuse as to why her brother can't do any of this. He's such a young guy. I can't count on him.
How old is he again?
26.
26.
When I pointed out that he's older than my husband, she just brushed me off. I got mad. I told her that if I'm doing all the maid of honor work, I want the maid of honor title, or else I'll walk. Maybe I'm vain for wanting the title, but I do. Am I the asshole?
This one's a little tough. I'm kind of leaning towards everyone sucks here, because you are being a bit of an asshole for demanding the title. In theory, you should just want to help your friend because they're your friend. I don't know if it matters that much. You're still in the bridal party. But friend is also being kind of an asshole for expecting you to fulfill all the maid of honor duties without that fancy title. Like, it is just a title, but also it's a fancy title, and you deserve it for doing all the maid of honor duties.
I kind of agree. Like, I don't think you can be mad at her for picking a sibling over you for the man or maid of honor position. But I do think you can get mad at her for her expecting you to do all the maid of honor duties without having the title. Just be like, no.
Yeah, it just feels a little unreasonable to ask you to do all the work without getting all the credit. Because I don't know, like, when I go to a wedding, I assume the maid of honor pulled a lot of weight. So I'm going to be like, good job, bro. This wedding's great. You did a great job as a man of honor.
But at the same time, I also get bride's point of view that I don't want my brother planning my bachelorette trip.
Oh, absolutely not.
I don't want him anywhere near that.
I don't know if I would want my same gender sibling planning my bachelor party. Depending on your relationship with that sibling, it could be awkward.
And what kind of bachelor party you're having.
Right. We had a very tame one because all of our siblings were in attendance. And we had one. We had a group one, and then we split off. And then I think your reservation didn't work, so you all followed us to our restaurant.
Yeah, it didn't work out. So we tagged along on yours for the restaurant part. And then we split up and did different things. Okay, so we did eventually split up and have separate. But we did whirly ball together on the whirly ball court. That was lots of fun. And then, yeah, we tagged along to your restaurant because our reservation fell through and it was terrible.
That's what you get for going to Cheesecake Factory instead of a nice steakhouse.
Look, okay, I had never been to Cheesecake Factory. Still haven't. But it sounds delicious and I love cheesecake. And they were like, let's go to Cheesecake Factory. And I was like, yes. And then turns out they didn't take reservations and it was graduation week, so it was packed. And they're like, you have to wait 2 hours.
But then my best man went and talked with the host at the restaurant we're at. And they're like, yeah, we can fit him over there on the other side of the restaurant.
Yeah, because we don't want to like infringe on your bachelor party at this point. We're supposed to be separate.
Not that anything crazy happened. We're just drinking.
But anyways, enough about our bachelor and bachelorette parties. I do kind of get the bride's point of view that there are some responsibilities she doesn't want her brother to handle, even though he's the man of honor.
Yes, but he should still be handling some of them. And if he can't, he doesn't have to have the fanciest title. That's your brother, not your sister. Sister gets that title. It feels like you're shoehorning brother into the role when he could just as easily stand over on groom's side. Like, I don't know your relationship with him. So it's not like it's bad that you're making him your man of honor. It just feels like there's other roles brother could do and no one would bat an eye.
Yeah, like, would it be so bad to swap and have your best friend be the maid of honor and your brother just be a bridesman?
Hell, he could be the man of honor and just stand right up there next to the maid of honor.
That's true. You could have both.
There's no one to stop you. There's no wedding police. That's something you learn later in life. The wedding police are a myth. No one can stop you.
Top comment, NTA. Just quit the bridal party. I was on your friend's side until you got the responsibility and not the title. Someone replied, ditto. You can't be expected to do all the maid of honor duties without the title. Little brother is lame. He totally could step up, I'm sure.
It is funny how important that little title is to everybody, isn't it? It sounds like we're all being petty. Like, what do you mean I'm not the maid of honor and I still have to do the maid of honor duties? But no, I want that title.
Dude, that is a lot of responsibility, time, effort, and money that goes into the maid of honor role. I'm not doing that without the title. Is it petty? Yes. And you are my friend. I do want to help you, but I'm not taking on all of the responsibility. I'll maybe take on some of it, but not all of it.
It just kind of feels like she's disrespecting you by trying to get you to do all the work without the title. It's like when your boss quits and your boss's boss expects you to do your boss's job without actually promoting you.
Yeah, it's exactly like that.
And it's just a matter of disrespect, and in that case, also salary difference.
NTA, if the brother gets to be man of honor, he can do maid of honor stuff. She can't expect that from you. Someone replied, this is absolutely the point to focus on, not the title. It's fine if he's the man of honor, but then she should count on him for those duties. The point is not to focus on, but if I'm doing this, then I should get it. While it's the same point, the phrasing and the focus is different.
Yeah, and it's not like you're snubbing your brother by making him just a normal groomsman or bridesmaid, right? Like, he's still included in the wedding party, and that is as far as sibling obligation technically goes. I just can't think of a single brother that I know that has a sister who would even expect to be added to that side of the wedding. Like, they would all expect to be groomsmen with their future brother-in-law.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would absolutely stand with the bridesmaids if that's what my sister wanted.
But that's just not traditional, and I still think a lot of people don't do that. It's getting more common, but it's still, like, not expected.
Yeah, and I think it would be perfectly fine if he stood on that side. It just feels weird to give him the fancy title and be like, oh, he's an idiot, though, and I can't trust him with anything. This is supposed to be your trustworthy person.
Someone else asks, are you willing to throw away the friendship over this? Because if you walk, that's probably the end.
Oh, it's absolutely the end. There's no going back from walking out of the bridal party.
Someone replied, the friend instigated the breakup, though.
She did instigate it, but you're still gonna be the one that ends it if you leave the bridal party.
Someone else says, it's close. I would have gone the other way. Instead of quitting the bridesmaid position, refuse to contribute beyond that position.
What does a normal bridesmaid even do? Moral support?
Sometimes they'll get together, like all the bridesmaids will get together and help with the DIY decorations and stuff. Sometimes they'll all get together and help plan the bachelorette and bridal shower and stuff together. But it's the maid of honor that's in charge of it all.
Right.
And sometimes the maid of honor just does it all and doesn't include the other bridesmaids.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have any set responsibilities.
Yeah, if someone asks you to do something, you show up and do it usually. But, like, you're not in charge of it. You're not in charge of anything. And then show up the day of and be moral support.
Yeah, it's not a thinking role. It's like, hey, there's some grunt work to do and we need extra hands. Put M&Ms inside of test tubes.
Someone replied to that comment, yes. Point person day of? Nope. Organize the bachelorette trip? Nope. DIY prep? Only if the rest of the bridal party are doing it too. Nobody can make you do work. If the bride wants to fire OP as a bridesmaid for not doing the work, that's her choice.
I mean, that is also an option for OP. That might also end the friendship, though.
Yes, but then at that point, it's the bride that has ended the friendship by, cutting OP from the bridal party for not doing all the work. But hey, that's not my designated job. I am not the maid of honor. And if you want to fire me for not doing maid of honor duties when I'm not the maid of honor, well, I guess friendship just isn't that important to you.
I guess. I just feel like OP probably doesn't want to end the relationship with their best friend over a title in a wedding. It sounds like it's not that serious of a fight, but I don't know. Sounds like OP really wants that title.
So mostly we've been getting NTAs so far, but Reddit is a little bit split. Some people think she's the asshole.
I'm still going everyone sucks here.
Never has there been a more meaningless title. This day is not about you. Either you care for and want to support your friend, or you don't actually care for her all that much. Wanting to walk over a title truly shows how shallow and sad society has become. It sounds like you don't value this person at all, so why even bother being friends with them?
See, I feel like that person's not looking deeply enough into the title because the title is it's a sign of respect to your friend, and it is a bit of a snub not to get that title.
Someone replied, the title must mean something if her friend wants her brother to have it, but not do the actual work.
Yeah, I know if you just look at it, it's like, oh, those are words on a page. They don't mean anything. No, they do have meaning. There is respect there. There is love associated with that title. There's a lot associated with that title.
So Reddit is very divided on this. Lots of NTAs, some YTAs. A bit of everyone sucks here.
That's my camp still. I don't think there's been any evidence that you're not both kind of being assholes to each other, and you are supposed to be best friends.
But I think if I was her, I would first have a discussion. I love your idea of there being a man of honor and a maid of honor. Why can't there be both? If you're doing the work, you do deserve the title. And it's not like the brother is taking the maid of honor title.
No, it's just that's my bro. I want him up here and I want him in a special position.
So I feel like I would talk to my friend and be like, hey, can I still be maid of honor and just your brother will be man of honor and stand next to you at the wedding and then I'll be the second person, but I still get the maid of honor title, I don't know. I feel like you could discuss this with your friend a little more. or be like, hey, I'm not comfortable doing all this work without the title.
Also, though, I feel like I would consider it a little cringy if I walked up and been like, actually, I want a higher title in your wedding.
That is true. But if it's this important to you that you are going to walk on the wedding and ruin your friendship, maybe talk to your friend about it first.
No, it absolutely is worth talking about. You got to talk out your feelings. You can't just assume that she's going to read your mind. There are better ways to approach it. Be like, hey, it actually does kind of hurt my feelings that you don't want me to be the maid of honor, but you want me to do all the maid of honor stuff. It feels like you're taking advantage of me a little. Can I have the title? I want the fancy title.
But I think we can all agree that it is not quite right that you got to do all this work without the title.
Am I the asshole for requesting one car key stays at home?
Why would you need one car key at home? If you're taking the car somewhere, are you afraid you're going to lose the car keys and then never have access to your car again? You can get your car rekeyed. I don't understand.
So I have key anxiety and my wife is quite forgetful. When she takes the car, she takes the key with her. It is a smart key, so it just sits in her bag. What I ask is that when not using the car, to leave the key at home. There are multiple scenarios I can see that her having the key at all times is risky. She goes away for work and the key is in her bag, and the one I need for the car is misplaced. She loses her bag or it gets stolen. One smart key stops working, and the one in her bag is at her work or away, so no access to the car.
This seems a little bit paranoid. And I get that he said he has key anxiety, so he knows this is not quite normal. But it seems a bit extreme.
All I ask is that when she is not using the car, which is most of the time, she leaves the key in the key jar and not just takes it around with her. She is pissed at me, and I was a bit annoyed having to ask her about the key. And as she says, I'm trying to control her or be controlling about the keys, but I see it as a very logical way to keep the key used safe. I don't worry about any of her keys or things. She is constantly losing stuff. It is just the smart keys for the car. Am I being a dick? Thanks.
I feel like you're being a dick. So I'm assuming this is a car that they share.
I mean, obviously this is a car that they own together as a married couple. Personally, I was assuming that she takes her car to work and had OP's car key with her because you just have all of your car keys on one keychain usually.
Yeah, okay. So like as a married couple, we each have our own car. And we did buy them jointly together, but one is my car and one is your car.
My car's better.
Okay, your car does have a heated steering wheel, which I am jealous of, but I prefer driving mine still. Just not in the winter. I wish I had that heated steering wheel.
I just don't like all of your sensors. Your car screams at me a lot, and I don't think it's necessary. But this is not on topic.
The point I was making is you have your car, I have my car, but I have keys for both cars on my key ring. So I always have your car's car keys with me, even though I never drive your car, hardly ever.
And I feel like part of that is because if I get stranded somewhere or lose my keys, chances are I'm going to have to call you. And I don't think you should have to drive home, get the key, and then drive to where I am. If the key is on your person, then you only have to drive to me.
But I feel like even though it's your car, this set of keys is mine and they're my responsibility. The keys on your key ring are your responsibility. You can do whatever you want with them. I will get mad though if you lose them. But I mean, I just have to expect that that may happen because accidents happen.
Accidents happen, but those smart keys are really damn expensive to replace.
But this guy's like, well, what if I lose my key or the key thing's not working and then I need your key and it's not here? Well, I feel like that's his responsibility. His keys are his responsibility. If he loses them, that's his own fault. And then whatever inconvenience occurs from that is his fault.
And I have been driving for quite a while now. I've been driving for longer than I was unable to drive.
Gee, you're old.
I feel like the scenarios that he's worried about have happened to me like once a decade. Like, it sucks for that one day, and then it's fine after that.
Yes, and he's creating lots of drama on a day-to-day basis with his wife for the chance that this once-a-decade occurrence might occur.
Right, I've had to call a tow truck like 3 times in my entire life. I feel like losing the keys is on that level of infrequency.
So I feel like he's the asshole for making his wife deal with his anxiety. Like, I know he knows that he has anxiety problems. I think that he needs to figure out how to work on those himself without changing how his wife does things.
Yeah, because another aspect of it is, as a husband, I want my wife to have access to any tool she needs in various situations. So I absolutely want you to have the car keys on you at all times in case you need them. I'm more worried about you being inconvenienced by this situation than I am me by this situation.
And I get that this is a relatively small thing to ask your wife to do, but it does not seem rational or necessary. And it also does seem to inconvenience her quite a bit. Because you know what? I throw my keys in my bag, and with the smart keys, I never take them out. So I'm not going to remember to take them out and put them in the key bowl all the time.
Also, it just occurred to me, couldn't they have a third key made?
It's expensive, though. You just said so. But yes, they could.
It is expensive. I feel like it's like $200 or something, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was around that.
So it's expensive, but think of just the pure bliss you would experience, OP.
Peace of mind. It would save your marriage. Because you are nagging your wife right now and she's getting pissed off, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Flushing $200 down the toilet for this third key fob is so worth it if it saves your marriage. That's so much cheaper than therapy.
I didn't think of it that way, but it is. Because I was thinking, if he's having this much anxiety, he needs therapy. No, he just needs a third key fob.
He really does. Top comment. So you have your own key, but you also need to decide what she does with her copy of the key. You're the asshole for the sake of the Reddit voting system, but you should probably try addressing the underlying anxiety you've got going on instead of insisting she can't keep her own key in her own bag.
It's my car, but this set of keys is yours. Whatever you do with it is up to you. And I don't feel like I should have a say in that. If you want to leave the key at home, great. If you want to take it with you, great.
OP replied, she takes one when not needed. There is only two. What if one gets lost? If at home and safe, there is always a backup.
So he's just reiterating that he has anxiety about this, and it is not rational.
Somebody else replied, there's videos on YouTube to show you how to open and start your car if the fob is dead, and there's a smartphone app that will do it if the fob is lost. Which is true. There's a lot of other workarounds, isn't there?
There is.
But the couple times my fob wasn't working, I absolutely had to look up that YouTube video because I don't know how to pull out the physical key on my fob.
Oh, I know how to pull the key out and how to stick it in the door and unlock the door. I don't know how to start the car with it, though.
No, I have to look up every single step. I have to figure out how to pull out the key, and then I have to figure out how to access a keyhole on the door, and then I have to figure out where the hell the key goes.
I feel like my car is easier than yours. It's a button on the fob. The keyhole is visible on the outside of the door. On the inside, though, I don't know where it is. Yours is all hidden.
No, yeah, there's absolutely a secret panel on my door that you gotta flip open, and I never remember where it is. Somebody else had the same idea as we did. You're the asshole, get another key. Your hang-up isn't completely unreasonable, but the hang-up is yours, not your wife's. So deal with it rationally by getting a backup key. OP replied, it's a smart key, very expensive. The person replied to OP, yeah, I figured, but it's less expensive than a divorce. Stop making your problems her problems.
Also a good point, cheaper than therapy and divorce. Also, I feel like he's well, leave the key at home if you're not using it. If I had the key to your car on a separate key ring, keychain thing than the rest of my keys, I'm more likely to lose it.
Oh, I absolutely am as well. That's why I carry around my big fat key ring of keys.
Yeah, it's got all the house keys and everything, all the house keys to our family members, and both car fobs. It is a big honkin' mess of keys.
And I know to protect that hunk of keys with my life because it gives access to just so many things. All right, and then OP does have a quick edit.
Oh, okay.
Thanks so much for all the passionate responses for both sides of the argument. I was not taking it as seriously as many of you were here, and I appreciate you all. I apologized for being snippy about the key for the car. I still would like it kept safe, but I also appreciate and trust her to look after it. I look after mine, and I was expecting her to do the same as me, but she is not me, so I have to let her be her. If I get caught out, I will not say I told you so.
Yeah, also it does seem a little bit like untrusting of your wife. Like you cannot be trusted with the key because you're an idiot and you're going to lose it. I'd be a little insulted.
A little bit, right? Because she is an adult with like a job.
Unless I have a habit of losing my keys. If you just think I'm going to lose them for no reason, I am insulted.
I mean, OP does say that she has a habit of losing things. Never specifically says keys.
Well, I have a habit of misplacing things too, but I don't think I've ever misplaced my keys. The most I have is, hey, they're not in the key bowl, they're still in my bag. They're in one of two places. And that depends entirely upon whether you open the door for me when I get home or if I have to unlock it myself. Because if I have to unlock it myself, the keys come out and then they go in the key bowl. If you open the door for me, they stay in my bag.
And that's only 2 spots. It's not hard to check them both. Yeah, you do protect your key fob. It's just a expensive thing that gives people access to a more expensive thing, so you guard that. And it sounds like wife can hopefully handle that. So Reddit and I think the two of us say OP's was being a bit of an asshole here. You can't make your problems your wife's problems to this extent.
Am I the asshole for telling a girl she's too quiet to date?
I mean, you're allowed to decide not to date someone for pretty much any reason, OP. I just hope you were nice about it.
I, 33 female, went to a queer speed dating event in my city. Because I'm in a smaller city, the queer dating scene is a bit small, and a girl who hangs out with other people I'm friends with, 30s female, was also there. I've talked to her before, given her rides a couple times, but we're not exactly close friends. I talked to her when it was my turn, just like I talked to everyone. The thing is, even with the dates being so short, there was a lot of awkward silence because she's extremely quiet. I've noted this about her before. Doesn't mean I don't like her, but honestly, it's part of the reason why I haven't tried to get close to her. When I've run into her at parties and we end up in the same conversation, she doesn't talk. When I give her rides, I try to make conversation, but she doesn't give much besides one-word answers.
Just sounds like you're not compatible for dating. That's fine.
After speed dating, I got a couple contacts from people I enjoyed talking to. A few days later, this girl DM'd me and asked if I wanted to chat and see where things go. I declined and told her that I wasn't interested. She seemed to think this has something to do with her appearance and gender presentation, and I told her no, but I generally like to date people who are at least as loud and talkative as I am. Then she blocked me.
Wow, she jumped straight to the blocking. It sounds like, assuming that's the wording OP used, it sounds like OP wasn't especially mean about just saying, hey, sorry, you're not my cup of tea.
I mean, they sounded a little blunt, but not mean.
OP kind of sounds like a blunt person, and it sounds like she's looking for that level of bluntness in a partner.
Mutual friends said that I should have left it at not interested, but I thought I was being reassuring by not letting her think it's something she has little control over, and trying to make it clear that it's just a personality mismatch. Am I the asshole?
I don't think you can leave it at just not interested. That's like a hurtful rejection. You gotta let them down a little gently because you have the same friend group.
Yeah, because if you just leave it at not interested, they're imagining the worst reasons that you're not interested.
Oh yeah, if you don't give me any reasoning and just say not interested and then say nothing else.
You hate me, you think I'm ugly, you think I'm a terrible person and boring and you don't like me.
Yeah, you just hate everything about me.
And it's just, you're just not very talkative and I prefer a more talkative partner.
And if this lady is as shy as OP says, maybe she just panicked and decided to block because I really put myself out there, right? I put myself out there and it failed, and now I can never show my face around OP ever again.
And I do get where OP's coming from. Like, sometimes you get those people where, like, having a conversation with them is, like, so difficult because they just will not participate.
That is, like, the entire point of speed dating events, right? Is to see if you're conversationally compatible. Is that person just going to walk all over you in the conversation? Are they going to ignore everything you say? Are they not going to participate? You gotta be a match in that category.
But also, as a kind of shy person, I feel like if you were kind of interested in her, it might be worth getting to know her a little better, because when she's more comfortable with you, she might be more talkative.
Yes, but they're in the same friend group. She must be comfortable around OP by now. But maybe not. I don't know how much they interact, on an individual basis. Maybe it's always just a big friend group and she's able to just kind of sit there quietly.
But you do feel like if you were interested in someone, you would try to make conversation with them at least. So I don't know. I get where OP is coming from and being like, hey, it's just not my cup of tea. Talking to you is too hard. It's too much work.
Yeah, and I hope OP didn't say it quite like that. That's not the best way to let her down. It was through text. You got time to think about it.
Top comment, no assholes. You respectfully clarified that it was a basic communication style incompatibility after she assumed it was about her appearance. And while it's valid for her to feel hurt and block you, you weren't cruel for being honest.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think she was especially being an asshole. And thinking back to when I was just I used to be painfully shy. And there's a chance that I might have also blocked someone after they rejected me because I need to hide from that person now.
That was mortifying. I never want to talk to or see that person ever again because I am so embarrassed.
I cannot face that situation of ever talking to this person again. I need to change states.
Someone else says, NTA, you only said it because she pressed a bit, but honestly, it is valuable feedback. Most people get exhausted having to hold up a conversation single-handedly. Someone replied, all the time, but the opposite also happens where you're stuck listening to someone and they never ask about your day. There's a Goldilocks area to conversations.
There absolutely is, and everybody's Goldilocks zone is slightly different. Because I am perfectly happy sitting in comfortable silence.
Ooh, but you have to know the person pretty well, I feel, to sit in comfortable silence.
You have to earn that comfortable silence.
If we're on a speed dating thing, comfortable silence is not comfortable.
That's true. No, we're at this event to talk about each other, to talk about ourselves. You need to be a little chatty there.
You need to put yourself out there.
Get a script, practice in the mirror.
Someone else says, NTA, good that you explained why you two are not a match, but I'm also thinking she might be shy because she likes you a lot.
I didn't consider that, because once again, back in my shy days, yeah, sometimes I would just quietly stand next to the girl I liked and not make a move because I was painfully shy. Sounds like your shy friend needs to join activities other than speed dating. If you have a subject to talk about, that's a lot easier. At least it was for me. We met on the fencing team. We could talk about fencing. If we met at a speed dating event...
What do we talk about? I don't know.
I can't talk about myself. That's awful. Nobody is interested in that.
But most of Reddit thinks not the asshole or no assholes here. It's okay if this person is not your cup of tea. You don't have to date them, and you weren't mean about it. But it's also okay if she's a little bit hurt by that.
I think I like that. I think no assholes here. She's absolutely justified to be hurt, or possibly just a little bit mortified that she thought there was something there, and then it turns out there isn't anything there, and she just needs some time to get over that.
And hopefully it doesn't stay awkward or isn't too awkward, because they are kind of in the same friend group circle of people.
Right, hopefully that just blows over with a bit of time. Am I the asshole for wanting to enjoy Disney at my own pace instead of doing everything together as a family?
This is tough, because when you go on a family vacation with a big family, yeah, sometimes the family is slow and doing things you don't want to do. I want to go off and do my own thing. But at the same time, it's a family vacation. Should you stay with the family, or is it okay if you go off and do your own thing? I don't know. I think it depends on your family dynamic.
During planning, it was suggested that each adult and family take turns on duty at night, meaning leaving the parks early to watch the kid. I said my wife and I are there to enjoy the parks ourselves, not follow a rotating schedule built around someone else's child.
Oh, okay. Not the asshole. These aren't even your kids. You don't have kids, and people want you to leave the park early to take care of the kids that are not yours. Not the asshole.
My mom and sister feel strongly that this is supposed to be a tight family trip, and that all experiences should be shared together. Parks, meals, evenings, all of it. I feel like everyone paid their own way and should be able to enjoy the trip the way they want. without being obligated to move at the pace of a group with a toddler or leave early for someone else's kid.
Yeah, like if you have decided to not have kids, or you just don't have kids yet, other people's kids are not your responsibility. I don't feel like you should have to change your vacation around for someone else's kid.
This has caused real tension with my sister and mom especially. They think I'm not being a team player. I think a shared family trip doesn't mean 6 adults have to sacrifice their own experience for one kid's bedtime. Am I the asshole for wanting to do our own thing at Disney instead of being one big group the whole time?
I'm going not the asshole. I mean, would it be nice if like one night you offered to take the kid so the kid's mom, your sister or whatever could have a break? That would be nice, but you are under no obligation to do so.
And that's definitely OP's opinion because that's the whole point of this post is that they don't want to do that.
But also I feel like a married couple with no children and a married couple with a toddler are going to have very different experiences at Disney. Like, they're so different. And I'm not sure I want to change my childless Disney vacation just to accommodate your child.
Personally, I find it strange that you would leave the parks early because your toddler has a bedtime.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too. They're a toddler. If they're tired, they're going to fall asleep in their stroller and sleep through the fireworks.
Right.
Just let them do that. You can stay.
Or let them nap and then maybe poke them awake and be like, look, fireworks, isn't this fun? Aren't you glad we didn't leave earlier? I don't know. I personally would just carry around the limp kid.
I mean, especially if you have a stroller, which I'm assuming you do.
But I think it also kind of depends on your family dynamic. And it sounds like OP feels like the family dynamic is different than what everybody else thinks the family dynamic is.
Yes, mom and sister think we're a village raising this child, and OP is like, that's your kid.
And OP can think that. But then if OP has a kid later, OP sure as hell is not allowed to be like, hey, a village, right? No, OP, you are on your own.
That is a good point.
So OP, just be sure about your decision because you have now established that sister does not owe you any babysitting. Grandma and grandpa still might babysit. Sister is a sure no.
That is a good point I didn't even think about. You do need to think about the future and if you are planning to have kids and what goes around comes around.
And it also depends on your closeness with your family. We don't have any kids. We still offered to take the kids for a day so that parents can have some time on their own at least, right? Last time we were in Disney World. Yeah,
we did a family trip with my whole family, which included nieces and nephews. And we did split up, and sometimes we took the older kids and let the parents go off on their own and do their own things. One time we took the youngest kid because everybody else wanted to go on a roller coaster and the youngest kid didn't, So we helped out my sisters and took care of the kids some of the time. But then we also did get some time where we're like, hey, just me and Josh are going to go off and do some things for a while. We'll meet back up with you in 2 hours.
Yeah, it is also OP's vacation. OP is allowed to have some me time on vacation. That's the whole point of it. Personally, though, I think on a family vacation, you have to accept that it can't be 100% me time. But leaving the park early because the kid has a bedtime might be a bit extreme.
Yes, I think I would offer to take the kid for part of the day at Disney or whatever, but I'm not leaving the park early just because your kid has a bedtime.
Yeah, I do enjoy seeing the look of joy on our nieces and nephews when they get to go on, the younger rides at Disney. You get to live a little vicariously through them because I like all of our nieces and nephews.
Yeah, and I don't particularly find this ride fun or thrilling anymore, but my niece sure did, and I loved watching her have fun on this ride that I was meh on until I saw how happy it made her, and then I was like, yeah, this is a fun ride.
Top comment is pretty short. Not the asshole. Coerced babysitting is terrible.
And that's the other thing. It's coerced babysitting. I think it needs to be volunteered by the babysitters. If the babysitters are not volunteering, you cannot volunteer someone to babysit your kids for you. And it only works the way it works for us is because we volunteer to watch our nieces and nephews.
Right, because we like our nieces and nephews and we like all of our siblings.
But I do feel like if my sibling just assumed I was going to watch their children and told me, hey, you're watching the kid this night, I would be mad. I'd be like, what do you mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a bit presumptuous.
It is a bit presumptuous. Once again, it's your family dynamic because Yes, it is a bit presumptuous that you assumed that I would watch your kid and leave the park early, but also, I feel like both of your sisters absolutely have the right to assume that we will take their kid for a day.
Because they know we will.
We absolutely will. So I can't blame them for assuming that. Yeah, just let us pick the day. But sure, we'll take them for a day. We're happy to. We like those kids.
I feel like this is one of those ones where people are going to be mad we're too soft on family again.
I don't care. It's our family. We can be soft on them if we want to. Another comment. NTA. The parents are responsible for their child. If other relatives want to volunteer to watch the child for a night, they can offer, but they shouldn't be required to babysit. Nor, as adults, should you be forced to spend the entire time with your family, especially if you are paying for your portion of the trip. It sounds like you and your wife should just skip this trip and book your own Disney vacation at a different time. Which, I kind of like that idea because it sounds like OP doesn't want to hang out with the family on vacation, so why did you go on the family trip?
Yeah, I'm like, that kind of defeats the point of a family vacation, though, but does OP want it to be a family vacation? Sounds like not really.
Or at least OP just wants there to be some alone time, which I can fully get that too. I don't want to... It is still a fun trip that I want to have some date time with my wife without anyone else there.
Aw, you're so sweet.
Another comment. NTA. Look, my brother has a bunch of kids. I got a couple. My mom came to Disney with me twice. Why? She knows I'll never expect her to watch my kids. Because they are my kids. She does her own thing, stays at the room, reads a book, whatever. Tight family trip? WTF does that mean? If you have a kid, you watch the kid. If grandma wants to be a kind person and take a turn, go for it, lady. But you are absolutely not responsible.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Parents can't expect family members to watch their kids unless those family members volunteer themselves.
Unless you are just that tight kind of family where parents absolutely can expect you to watch their kids. Some families just aren't like that, though. And you gotta know what kind of family you belong to. But Reddit is very firm here. You're not the asshole. They can't just expect you to give up a chunk of your vacation and babysit, especially if you paid your own way.
Am I the asshole for leaving a wedding reception after the bride and groom had us drive to 4 different locations, over 30 miles, through LA traffic in 100-degree Fahrenheit heat?
That just kept getting worse. I was already ready to say you're not the asshole. Driving to 4 different locations sounds awful, and then it's 30 miles apart in LA of all places in 100-degree heat. That sounds so awful. Just say you got lost. I got lost. I found my way back tomorrow. Somehow I ended up in Vegas.
Hello, we went to a wedding on Saturday, and after the ceremony, which ended around 12, we were given an address for the reception. We get there, and after we all finished eating, salads, chicken, and fish, the bride and groom stand up and ask the guests to accompany them to the next location for the rest of the reception, 12 miles away.
Sorry. This wasn't in the invitation?
No.
It's just a spontaneous scavenger hunt?
Yep. Everybody get up. We're going to the next place. How exciting.
I ate too much at the reception. I don't want to drive.
Mind you, we are about 75 to 100 guests.
This is like a funeral procession, but for a wedding.
We head over where another meal was served, a main course of Mexican food, which was okay. After we finished eating, again, they stood up and asked us to accompany them to the next location for the rest of the party. No dancing, no speeches. We just sat and ate.
I hope there wasn't alcohol.
Oh, that's a good point. Drinking and driving is bad.
Yeah, because if I go to a wedding, I'm assuming that I'm the driver. But I'm also assuming I got a few hours to sober up. I can absolutely have some wine with dinner.
I expected it to be a hall with a dance floor in the same building or something, but no. 8 miles further, taking us into downtown LA. By now, it's 4 p.m. We've paid $12 valet at Restaurant 1 and $18 at Restaurant 2. Some of the guests were a little pissed off, but we all head out and went. Took about 40 minutes to get there in traffic, and it was almost 100 degrees Fahrenheit that day. We get to Restaurant 3. This time, desserts were served. $20 for parking. Same thing. They got up and asked us to go to location 4 for the remainder of the evening. And they didn't say what will be there.
Does this newly married couple know that most restaurants will cater? You could have the restaurant come to you.
It was 30 miles away. Like 30 further out from the main wedding ceremony and my home. At that point, I'm almost 60 miles away from home. I found out later that there was an open bar and a dance floor, and that's where the party was. At this point, I said my congrats and went home. It was already 7 p.m. and we were sweaty from the extreme heat, overworked, and exhausted from all of the driving. I found out yesterday that almost half the guests went home. Now I'm wondering if I did the wrong thing by leaving. I feel bad that they had to go to the main party without almost half of their guests. I also understand that they wanted to do something different and memorable with their wedding, but the driving around was just hectic. It felt inconsiderate to have almost 100 guests driving from place to place in LA traffic just to eat at each location rather than actually celebrate together. And that's not even thinking about the $50 in valet we spent at the 3 places. I asked, and venue 4 was also $18 valet.
I feel like if they wanted to go on this whole adventure, they should have chartered some buses.
Maybe I should have just sucked it up, driven the extra 30 miles, and stayed for the actual party. At the same time, it was already 7 p.m., and we'd been doing this for basically the entire day. I would have just sat on a chair fanning myself with my feet up. Am I the asshole?
You're not the asshole. Driving to all those locations sounds like such a hassle with just that many people in tow. And none of you are carpooling. That sounds so awful. I think a couple of OP's complaints were a little petty. Like, I don't think you're allowed to factor in the fact that you're 60 miles away from home. That's not very far, at least by Michigan standards. Maybe LA standards, that's far. That's just how far we have to drive to go to a wedding. That's a close wedding.
Yeah, that's close. I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. This is we're not going to need to get a hotel overnight. This is great.
Yeah, that's within an hour of home. But I absolutely understand deciding that this isn't worth it when there was no schedule. You didn't know this was going to happen. You couldn't have prepped for this at all. I'm trying to picture some of the girls in like just very unpractical dresses and heels, trying to struggle through all of this.
Yeah, that is a good point. And all the men are probably in suits, and it's 100 degrees outside, and you're going in and out of the restaurants and into cars all over the place. It's not fun.
No, if I'm wearing a full suit, I'm really hoping there's going to be air conditioning, or I'm going to be wearing less and less of that suit as we go.
Top comment, no, NTA. Was this communicated with the wedding invite? If not, that's on them. That's misleading the guests. Also, if this is what they really wanted, they should have arranged shuttle and transportation for all of the guests. OP replied, not at all. They gave the address for the first venue only. When they announced the second location, they were both giggling and were intending it as a fun surprise for everyone. God, I feel so bad. But if it was communicated, my friends and I would have carpooled and maybe continued the night.
Yeah, that is just a rough thing to surprise everybody with. Weddings are generally very structured events. So it seems really weird to me not to put all of this on the invitation.
But I also feel like, yeah, the shuttle would be a really great idea. That way you don't have like 50 cars driving from restaurant to restaurant.
Especially because at a couple of these restaurants, I'm probably going to order a beer if I'm assuming we're not going to drive again. After the second one, I don't trust you anymore. So I'm assuming we're going to have to drive.
But at the same time, if you're like, hey, let's get on a shuttle bus and have told me nothing about where we're going or how long it's going to be or when the shuttle bus will bring me back, I'm like, no, you're like kidnapping me and I'm going to be stranded somewhere and not able to get back to my car when I want to go home.
Yeah, once you get on the mystery shuttle bus, you are completely at the mercy of the mystery shuttle bus. That means you go back when bride and groom say you go back.
They're holding you hostage. You must enjoy their wedding.
Yeah, you are going to have fun and you are going to like it. And you are going to hope that there isn't some weird circumstance where that shuttle bus is too full for you to get on it on the way back.
Another comment, NTA. They turned the wedding reception into a fucking LA road trip with catered pit stops. Also, the bride and groom are jerks. If they actually cared about their guests, they would have arranged transportation instead of making 75 to 100 people drive from one location to another in 100-degree Fahrenheit heat in LA traffic. Someone replied, not to mention all of the parking or valet fees the guests incurred. And I feel like that's a good point. Like, if you were planning this as the bride and groom, I don't feel like you should expect your guests to cover all of this valet parking. I think you should have covered it. Worked out an arrangement with the venue and been like, hey, well, we want this many cars to park. Can we just pay for that valet for them?
Yeah, because you're renting out a room at the location, I assume. I assume you're not just turning up at these restaurants being like, hey, can you fit 100 people in here?
Oh, no, they had to have scheduled this ahead of time and made reservations and booked out the whole restaurant, right?
Generally, when you do that, parking is included in your rental.
Yeah, but expecting your guests to pay an extra $50 to attend your wedding and just for parking is insane to me.
Yeah, it really is. It just feels disorganized. Most of the weddings we've been to, when there is some sort of parking structure you have to go in, they're like, hey, here's some sort of voucher that says you're with the wedding party and you won't have to pay on your way out of the parking structure. I feel like that's just a very common thing. But for all OP knows, they had that in place, and it was just such a chaotic thing that nobody told OP.
You think valet would have figured it out?
Oh, that's true. The valet should have absolutely known. So, I guess bride and groom just didn't want to pay the extra for that.
Yeah, and I could see it maybe getting messed up at one of the venues. But all of them, I'm pretty sure the bride and groom did not consider paying for everybody's parking.
Also just didn't consider how many people are going to get lost in between every single one of those stops. I'm assuming you're going to lose 10% of your guests every time you need to change location, and I feel like that is a generous estimate. It's probably closer to 20, isn't it?
Yeah, and I do get a lot of places will have two places you need to be, where the ceremony is and where the reception is. Adding a third one on is weird. Adding a fourth one on is really weird.
Yeah, with a wedding, I think you get two. You get two. You get to go to the wedding, and then you get to go to the reception. Or if the wedding and reception are in one location, you can probably finagle out a second location as well. Once you go 3, I'm like, well, this is getting weird. And 4, I don't know. I might go home because I'm afraid there's going to be a 5, 6, 7. When does this end?
But Reddit really thinks they should have provided transportation. Someone says, they should have sprung for a party bus, NTA. Someone else said, probably cheaper for all the guests compared to $60+ in valet.
It absolutely would have been overall cheaper to rent out a couple party buses.
But then, the bride and groom would have had to pay for that, not the guests.
Well, they need to have a wedding that is within their budget.
OP replied, with the costs of each place, I don't think this was cheap at all. They weren't fancy or over the top wow, but still decent. If they had stuck to one place, it would have definitely been a great wedding and much more cost effective for everyone.
Yeah, it just sounds chaotic and expensive, and there are very few people I like enough to put up with this.
And some people agree with you about how dangerous this is with the possible drinking. Unless it was a dry wedding, this isn't even a safe idea. People could have been drinking with the thought that they wouldn't have to drive again for hours. What a dumb idea, NTA. And then someone replied, OP confirmed that it was not a dry wedding. Reception venue 2 served beer. Reception venue 4 was at a bar. I didn't see that comment, but someone else must have.
Well, reception venue 4 being at a bar was just part of the story.
Oh, yes, it was. Yeah. Venue 4 was where the partying and the open bar happened. So.
Yeah, I don't quite remember their description of venue 2.
A Mexican place.
Yeah, I mean, then yeah, I want a nice Mexican beer with my food. But yeah, sometimes at a wedding, you kind of front load your drinking because that's when the cocktail hour is. Or you're like, well, I'll have my 3 beers for the night and then I'll have all the fun dancing to sober up. And I'll switch over to water and then I'll be okay to drive home. Sounds like, no, that's not the case for this wedding. It's just adventure after adventure.
Someone else says, NTA. Oh, it was different and memorable, all right. But it will be remembered as a terrible reception organized by clueless people. I would have given up after restaurant number 2.
Yeah, I feel like this is just a way for the newly married couple to filter out their true friends. Because you're absolutely going to lose so many people every single time you have to move to a new location. What if there was some amazing prize at the end of this OP? You missed out on your share of the gold.
It was a scavenger hunt wedding. You don't know what the ending was. You didn't make it there.
Less of a scavenger hunt, I guess, and more like Cannonball Run.
But Reddit thinks not the asshole. Like, this was a terrible idea for a wedding. It might have been okay if they had put it in the invitation that this was what was happening, but just springing it on all of your guests was a bad idea, and nobody blames him for leaving. Because you didn't know how long it was going to go on.
Am I the asshole for tipping in the UK despite my daughter asking me not to?
I mean, I'm not from the UK, so I could not say. But I feel like I've heard that tipping is not a thing in the UK and you shouldn't do it.
I think mandatory tipping is not a thing. You're still allowed to tip somebody if they do a good job. At least that's what I've heard. I've never been to the UK.
Yeah, I think we need UK people to weigh in on this to get a really accurate response. But I feel like if I was going to the UK, this was something I would have researched before going because I do not want to commit a cultural faux pas.
I, 58 male, am from Kansas. My wife and I recently flew to London to visit our daughter, 27 female, who moved there last year for her PhD. She has some time off right now, so she's been showing us around the city. Before we came, she explained that tipping isn't expected in the UK as it is back home. I understood that, but I still like leaving something when I get good service. For years, I've carried novelty US dollar bills. They aren't legal tender, but they're made to look close enough that people usually take a second look.
Wait, so you're not even tipping with real money, and then this fake money you're tipping with is from another country than the one you were currently in? That is asshole behavior. If you're gonna tip with real money. What the heck?
They have a message on them and a well-known American. I like leaving them because they're memorable, and I think people are more likely to read the message that way. I also sometimes put them into charity donation boxes if I see one.
What? This person is a huge asshole.
On a couple of occasions, I've noticed what looked like other US bills already in those boxes, so I didn't think anything of it. My daughter caught me leaving one after a meal on the first day and immediately told me not to do that here. She said people don't appreciate it and that I was embarrassing her.
Well, I don't know if it's the tipping itself that is embarrassing her. It's the tipping with fake money is embarrassing her. People do not appreciate that anywhere in the world.
No, we do not appreciate that in the US either. I told her I wasn't trying to insult anyone and that I was just leaving something positive and unique and memorable. Since then, every time I leave one somewhere, whether for service or in a donation box, she gets annoyed and tells me to stop. I haven't listened because I don't really see the harm. None of the servers have complained, rolled their eyes, or handed it back to me. As far as I can tell, nobody has had an issue with it. She says that just because nobody says anything doesn't mean they're okay with it, and that I'm refusing to respect local customs after she specifically asked me not to. I think she's making a much bigger deal out of this than it needs to be. I have good intentions, and I don't see why that's such a problem, but I'm wondering if I should stop just for my daughter's sake.
Yes, you should stop. One, because it's embarrassing your daughter and she's asked you repeatedly to stop. And even if you don't think it's doing any harm, it is doing mental harm to your daughter. She's embarrassed by this. Rightfully so, in my opinion. Because also this is asshole behavior, giving people fake money. If someone hands me money, I'm going to be like, ooh, money, and get excited and then be like, oh, this is fake garbage. I'm just going to throw this away. And I'm going to be disappointed and a little bit mad at you.
Absolutely, especially if I'm in an industry where that tipping is part of my income. Or if you throw it in a charity donation box, that's trash, OP.
Yeah, you're throwing trash in the charity box, and the people who have to go through those charity boxes and sort out the money are really annoyed by you. What is this garbage doing in here?
Because you hear about people tipping with, like, fake bills every now and then. They're always such giant assholes inside the United States. And you're just going to another country and taking that with you.
You're making Americans look bad. Stop it. We don't need any help with that. You're making it worse.
Didn't somebody get arrested for doing this?
I don't know.
I think that they also tried to pay their bill with the fake money in addition to the tip.
Oh, yeah, you'll get arrested for that, I'm sure, but I don't know about tipping.
It was some singer, I think. And they
Oh, yes. Who was it? I don't remember, but they paid with money with their own face on it.
Yeah, and I think they got arrested or something.
I do remember a story of a singer, someone famous, trying to pay with money with their face on it. And it did not go well.
No, because that's counterfeit money. Once you try to pass it off, it's no longer fun bucks, it's counterfeit money. Top comment. Why the hell do you think people would appreciate getting fake money that looks real? I would be pretty upset if my tip money all of a sudden got rejected at the store, and you put them in charity boxes? What is wrong with you? OP replied, I've seen others do it with both real and similar prop bills with messages. It is memorable, and it is still worth something.
It is not worth anything. And you're not spreading positivity by giving someone something unique with a fun quote on it. No, you're making people mad and ruining their day because they thought they were getting real money and it's fake. It's garbage.
Yeah, even in another country, I'm going to be like, well, I mean, I have to go get that exchanged, but hey, money's money. Oh, this isn't money. This is a motivational message. The worst kind of message.
And I could see maybe, like if you gave them real money plus this.
Maybe.
I'd still be a little bit like, what the heck? This is garbage trash. Why do you put this in here with my tip?
You have to give me enough money with it that I'm willing to accept your antics.
That is right. If you give me like $1 and then this crappy piece of thing, I'm gonna be like, what the heck? If you give me a good tip plus this crappy piece of paper, I'll be like, well, do whatever you want with if you're paying me a nice amount of money.
Because I don't know what denomination these fake bills are. It's definitely not like $1 or $5, right?
No, it's probably something you're like, oh, $20. Oh.
Yeah, $50. Wow, what a good tip. Oh. There's always that oh at the end.
Yeah.
Somebody else commented, you're not tipping though, are you? Memorable for who? The only memory for the person receiving that is that you're an insufferable US tourist trying to force some religious ideas on others. Stop doing this. No one likes it apart from you. OP replied, it is not religious messages, just positive ones.
Okay, I was going to say, they didn't say anything about religion, but the only times I have seen this, like on people on the internet complaining about this, was that it was a religious bill with a religious message on it.
Yeah, that's the only time I've seen them too, and they're usually the religious ones also have kind of an insulting message inside of them.
Yeah, you sinners. Get your life on track, you sinners.
I've seen them given to like single mothers and being like, how could you have a child out of wedlock? That's their tip to you. You're going to hell.
And not only is that then disappointing that you didn't get a real tip, it's insulting.
Yeah, the other people that OP have seen doing this are just the lowest quality people in the country, right?
Yes.
In my opinion, don't do this.
If you want to try spreading positivity, why don't you try giving them a real tip? That would be a positive interaction for the other people.
Another comment. Pretending to tip with fake money is a massive asshole act wherever you are. Also, you are framing your question about tipping, but you aren't tipping anyone, so you get extra asshole points for trying to mislead people by asking a different question than your post title. If you want someone to read your message, provide some real money. You're the asshole.
Yeah, he did frame this completely misleadingly. Like that, all of his information was wrong in the title.
OP replied, in the US, I get it. But in the UK, there is no expectation of tips, and it is very rare, so something memorable makes sense to me. Many people insist it is not necessary to tip, and some insist on not tipping, especially when there is already a service charge. Somebody replied to that, it's not necessary to tip. It's definitely not necessary to trick them into thinking you've tipped. Come on, dude.
Yeah, even if I'm not expecting a tip and then someone hands me a tip, I get excited and then I find out it's not a real tip. Disappointment. There is no way that this fake money is not leading to disappointment for servers. And I feel like they have it hard enough. They don't need more disappointment in their life. They got to deal with the public every day. It's a tough job.
Yeah, that's why they deserve the tips in the first place, because even in a non-mandatory tipping culture, they still have to deal with the public, and they still put on that fake smile and trying to give you good service, so they deserve real money.
Not some insufferable asshole trying to fake them out.
But I think all of Reddit's comments are very much along the same page here. Don't take fake money and pretend it's real money, especially when giving it to, well, just don't do it, right? And don't put it into a charity box.
Or give it to a server. There's just no good scenario in which to use this fake money.
There really isn't, and Reddit is very angrily letting OP know that fact. And honestly, we kind of did too, but...
He had it coming.
He really did. Just, if you're gonna be tipping or donating to charity, use real money, please. Especially in another country.
All right, that's our last story for this episode of Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet.
Thanks for watching, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.